Today we're going to talk all about the lie of GCam, why GCam is kind of an overblown bullshit lie at this point. I know this video is going to anger a lot of people, so leave your angry comments right now. But if you guys don't know, my name is Mitchell. I'm fluent in tech, so you don't need to be. I've been making videos about custom ROMs and Xiaomi devices and GCam for a better part of 5 years. I've owned 12 or 14 different Xiaomi devices. In this period of time, I have a lot of history with the brand. I have a lot of history with GCam, and I want to talk to you guys about today. Now, before the Poco F1, GCam existed, but GCam was always kind of this thing that was there for people that wanted to give their budget or their mid-range phone a bit of an upgrade. And it was great because it took advantage of the powerful Google camera application that's on the Google Pixel and the Google AI and Google software to go ahead and make average phones much better. But when the Xiaomi Poco F1 released, Xiaomi gave the Poco F1 the same camera as their flagship device, their Xiaomi Mi 8. But because the Poco F1 was supposed to be their budget device, they had to make the camera worse. And that means that you bought a phone from the factory that was being artificially limited by its price point. Now, when developers got their hands on the Poco F1 and GCam, they did amazing things with it, and they were able to get results that were very similar to the Google Pixel, because at the time the Google Pixel was using the same IMX363 sensor, and they were able to get incredible performance out of it. Part of the reason that they made it so much better is because it came from a disadvantage at the factory. Another example of this is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7, or the Redmi Note 7 Pro, that had the IMX 586, the Xiaomi IMX 568 or 586. It was the 48 megapixel sensor from Xiaomi. It was the same camera that was in the Redmi K20 Pro. And this was in a phone that Xiaomi was selling for around $200. And they gave it hardware from a much more expensive cell phone. That camera also from the factory was being released at a disadvantage. It was being artificially held back. When they got GCam, it obviously transformed it because this sensor was so much more powerful. But now in 2021, Xiaomi isn't putting their flagship sensors on their mid-range devices, right? The only example of this that we have is the K50 and the use of the HM2, but the HM2 sensor is going to be having OIS, so it's not going to, Xiaomi doesn't have a reason to hold other devices back with the HM2. The K50 is going to be its own unique camera hardware, and thus they're going to want to get the most out of it. The Redmi Note 10 Pro, its own camera hardware, they're going to want to get the most out of it. That said, we also have the fact that the versions of GCam that we're getting aren't the newest versions of GCam from the Google Pixel. Because of the Pixel's custom hardware, they're not able to get the newest versions of GCam with all of those features. So, unfortunately, we're not getting the same kind of huge worldwide huge insane performance upgrades with GCam. And I've seen this now in 2 tests that I've done. I tested GCam on my S20 FE, and I also tested GCam on my Redmi Note 10 Pro. And GCam on the Redmi Note 10 Pro during the daytime, not that big of a difference. And at nighttime, because it was having a longer shutter speed, I was getting motion blur. And when in my back-to-back tests, and I'll link those videos for you guys, I didn't see huge jumps in performance using GCam. And so I think the time of Xiaomi giving us these awesome sensors that are in their more expensive devices at their cheaper price points and then holding them back with software, that time is kind of behind us. And unfortunately, we aren't seeing these device-changing GCam ports anymore, and that's just the way it is. Till next time, it's been Mitchell. Peace.